Your teen requested a ride, but this time not from you. It's through their Uber teen account. You drive your teenager around, a lot, to their friend Jacob's house, their other friend Jake's house, to James's, to Jaden's, to Jalen's, to...
Mom? This is Jake's house, not Jacob's.
Now with an Uber teen account, your teen can request a ride under your supervision. They'll ride with a highly rated driver, and with live trip tracking, you'll follow along the whole ride to their friends' houses that all sound the same. Add your teen to your Uber account today. See app for details.
Bye, Mom.
This episode is brought to you by Coffee Mate. Coffee Mate is the world's biggest coffee lover because we love all the ways you enjoy. Wait. Coffee Mate can't love coffee more than me. I'm a foodie. I went to Kyoto just for a nitro matcha latte. What? Oh, I have to finish the ad. Coffee Mate, for the love of coffee.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check you have the tickets in your wallet first before you drive 2 hours to the big game. Seriously, you had one job. Now the closest you'll get to the 50-yard line is parking lot D. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
This is the Dragon's Lair, in association with the Riverside Sports Bar Newport, an American-style bar with a proper Welsh feel.
Hello and welcome to the Dragon's Lair podcast in association with Riverside Sports Bar. I'm Jamie and joining me as always is Gavin Thomas. How are we doing, Gav?
Very well, Jamie, very well. Riding on the sea of being right about something.
Indeed. So we didn't get to say it much last season, and I'm not sure how many times we're going to say it this season, but this is a victory pod, and it feels really, really good, doesn't it? How we won, I still have no idea, but this is a victory pod. It feels so good to say that, doesn't it? It really does.
It does. And, and in a game where not many people were giving us a chance, and in a game where 70 minutes into it, we were dead and buried, so...
Absolutely. Dragons looked dead and buried with just 4 minutes left. We were down to 14 men and we're trailing 13-21. But the men of Gwent found a way. See what I did there? Did a boofism for you there? Found a way to come back from the dead and stun the Ospreys 23-21. So before we get into all that, let's welcome Dragon supporter Nathan Williams onto the pod. Nathan, how are we doing, sir? We all good?
Hello. Yeah. Well, thank you for welcoming me on for a start. And yeah, what can I say? That my mind hasn't caught up yet. It's wow.
I was going to say, have you recovered? But I don't think you have you?
No,
the sound
I
of
had
it.
to put my glasses on. I looked at myself in the mirror before I was sort of started to come on. I thought, no, I'm going to put my glasses on today. I usually use them for the computer for glare, but I think for today it's just to not see the bags under my eyes. But, fair play to the boys. I can't say anything more than it was. I think I put in a tweet on X. It was emotional from start to finish. It just felt right. It felt we deserved it. We always come up on the wrong side of these events, and I think it was just our time.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether Ospreys fans will agree that we deserved it, but I mean, for the last 10 minutes, I think we wanted to do more, in my opinion. I think we really did show that grit, steel and determination, that heart that we just want to see from the Dragons week in, week out. But we're going to talk about that later on. Do you want to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself first, Nate? How long you've been a Dragon season ticket holder, that sort of thing?
Well, like I say, being a season ticket holder, it does. You don't choose it; it chooses you at the end of the day. And that's not what you would choose if you weren't born in the area. There is a roller coaster that goes with it. But met some fantastic friends. It's not a term; it is a family. Once you got that shirt, wherever you go, you've always got somebody there. There's going to be the ones who have a laugh at the misfortunes over the years, but it's becoming more popular. It is. I think it feels like a calling to be a Dragons fan. Might not want to answer it, but it does feel like a calling. But yeah, I've probably been a season ticket holder now for honestly 6 or 7 years. Support them for many more. Born Abercan boy, and this was my region, and it just I went brought my kids from a young age, because ultimately, again, they wouldn't choose this. Not football, you can choose the sport, millions of miles away. You support where you're from. So they grew up into it. And my wife comes, there's 3 generations of us go. It is it's a family thing. And
Yeah.
I was on my own yesterday for once, so which is probably why I'm in a bit of a shape. Compared to normal, because we had a few injuries and illnesses in the family. So on my own, with my nan's part as well, Graham, and wow, just yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell. Pretty simple, mate.
So where are you based then in the stadium? Are you over on the terrace, or are you in the
I'm
posh end by me?
No, I'm in Terrace, but because
Yeah.
we've got my nan touches 80 next year, same as a partner Graham does. So we're in the block B front row. So, but
All right.
I usually take a walk into the bottom to say hello to everybody. By the sign, I always go and say hello on the terrace. But I don't mind those front row seats, because where the signage boards are, there's a little cubby hole to keep your drinks in. So no
Yeah.
spillage. I don't mind that. And you can't beat the atmosphere. The captains run as soon as that the team come around, it just erupts. And yesterday, I haven't felt that level of optimism in. I can't remember
Yes.
the last time I felt that level. Yeah, I want to say the games or months, but yeah, years. And I just felt the tide had shifted where everyone was behind the boys. There was not the normal naysayers would be, oh, we're gonna mess it up the last minute. Everyone believed that it was going to happen. Don't
I
know
must
how
admit,
it
I
happened
didn't.
again.
I didn't believe it was going to happen,
Did
especially
you?
after
Oh, I felt it.
76 minutes. No way. We were down to
No,
40 men and 21-14. No, I did not believe it was going to happen.
no.
Did you, Gav?
The second,
Honestly?
the second time I watched it, bear in mind I knew what the result was.
Yeah.
I still thought we were going to screw up. So when
It was a,
when I watched it again this morning, like at that
yeah.
point, I was like, "Well, we can't win this," even though I knew we had won it.
I know. It was a proper smash and grab. But to be fair, that's happened. How many times has that happened to the Dragons over the years? Do you know what I mean? Isn't it nice when
Yeah.
things go our way for a
Yeah,
change? You know,
you,
that's the way I look at
you
it.
don't get points for deserve to win the game. Yeah,
No.
I
Yeah, it
said
is.
this to an Ospreys fan today. Oh well, we deserve to win it. Well, there's no points tally for that, so you
No,
can
quite
think
right.
that, and they're probably right. But there's two tables that count. This, let's go at the end of the day, and we won the league at the end of the season. So I'll take that.
No, absolutely. So, Nate, any favourite memories as a Dragon supporter? Do you have any particular matches that you've enjoyed over the years? What stands out to you as a Dragons
It's
fan?
gonna always be. This is probably one of the most overused, but I was there, and
Let me
the
guess,
rain,
Gloucester.
everything. No,
Oh,
the Sam Davis Scarlets, that drop goal.
oh yes, 2019. Yeah, Sam Davis.
Oh,
Yeah, great. I remember that.
unbelievable.
Great game.
We had a bit of a purple patch at that point, didn't we? That was probably one of our, I don't know if this is right, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, but one of the most wins we had in a season at that point in the recent memory. I mean, talking the last sort of 5, 6, 7 years.
Mm.
We had quite a few wins that year, and that game was just, yeah, again, it was one of those ones that went down to the wire, and we just, it usually goes against us. It was nice it went for us for once.
I remember that, and it was hammering down, wasn't it? So
Oh,
that was
that
Dean
was terrible.
Ryan's first season. That was, and people forget. Look, it didn't end well with Dean Ryan. We all know that. We all know that how it ended quite badly, right? In this first season of mine, people forget we didn't finish bottom Welsh region because that was the Ospreys. We qualified for the Champions Cup. People
Yeah,
forget that we had a really
yeah.
good season under Dean Ryan in his first year, and then obviously after that went a little bit tits up, shall we say? But yeah, I was there. It was a great game. I just remember
Unbelievable.
horrible conditions. Yeah, I thought you was going to say Gloucester. That's the popular one for a lot of
Yeah,
supporters. Is that quarterfinal win had been
I
King's
think
Own.
I heard a couple of people say that recently. I think even Buttress might have said that one of his
Mm,
favourite memories at some point he said that was it. I just remember it being, but for me in that memory, I mean, bear in mind I've been at some of the ones, I saw usually on the buses, and I've been at the away
yeah.
trips, and I've been to the ones at the scaremonger ones, like the Glasgow game last year. I mean, if,
Did you go to that?
yeah, I was there.
Oh, are you talking about
Oh,
the Challenge Cup one when we got 70 plus
yeah, I
points
was there
progress?
for that.
Oh no,
Oh, I was there for that. I
that's
went to this
painful.
year. I went to the game in February as well. That wasn't too painful, but at least it was my 40th hours, and that was, another, as you would say, non-competitive away game for us. But I did end up drinking with a few Portuguese boys. I think they played for the Braga Portuguese team who were in the whiskey hut, the gross whiskey hut. So that wasn't too bad an end to the day.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
Glasgow. I remember that was the game where we had two hookers in the back row because Jumbo played it, and we had Sam
Yeah.
Scarf. He's only a young kid, but we had to play him in the back row. Yeah, we just don't have any luck with injuries, do we?
No.
Fair play. Okay, so let's round up a bit of Dragons news then before we go on. So I suppose the big news coming out of the Dragons was Dan Lydiard. He has agreed a new player coach contract at the Dragons. So Dave Flanagan said he has a huge amount to offer and has been coaching the squad over the summer. But with current injuries, he still has an important role to play here. Lydiard, of course, came off the bench on Saturday and played his part in the win over Ospreys. Gav, I think this is a smart move because he's got so much experience to pass on to the academy kids. He's going to be a great mentor, and as he showed yesterday, he could still do a job for Dragons on the field. What do you think?
He's a calm head. I think as a player, he always just struck me as the coolest head on the field. And having somebody like that coaching is really going to be important, because I'm not suggesting it was the Lydiard factor yesterday, but we saw yesterday the value of not panicking.
Yes.
And just getting on with stuff. And if he can bring some of that, and also he's technically the best tackler of this century. I'm willing to fight anyone over that argument. I coach, I said under 11s and under 6s. I don't coach the under 6s to do chop tackles. But the under 11s say all the time, get as low as you can, get an arm round the ankles, and then everything else will come onto you. And Lydiard and he's also one of the best defensive positioning players of the last decade, the Welsh players, or last 2 decades. He just knows where to be. Yeah. So all of that's going to benefit us, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a smart move for the club. What about you, Nave? Do you think it's a good move having Dan Lydiard as a player coach?
I think, his experience can be, you just can't put a price on it. I mean, at the time where we've gone through so much upheaval and change and bringing through so many youth, it's going to be a time where they're going to have a game where I'm in the camp where it's the Challenge Cup for me this year. I think it is something we could, if we get I'm saying knockouts, but, that could be if we get the right tie, that could be some cash on the back end of it. If we get to that, those boys are going to have to go through that cauldron, and he's the guy you want giving you that speech to chariot to go to war. He's seen it, he's done it, and I think whatever agreement they got, I didn't know that was a thing till this morning. I didn't even realize that I was that merry by the end of the second half that I didn't even realize that. It took me for a while to see it was Yendel who got it at the end. I didn't. It was, but yeah, 100%. I mean, whatever they paid for him, I think he'll give it back definitely.
Yeah, I just think he's got so much knowledge and experience to pass on to guys like Evan Minto, George Young, the young back rowers and the academy kids. I think it's a very smart move for the club. And like I said, okay, he may be past the peak of his powers now, but he can still do a job. And we saw that yesterday when he came on the field, as you said, Gav. It just seemed a little bit calmer when he came on. He had that experience. We didn't try and rush it or force it like we had previously before he came on. That's something that I noticed. It's all about leadership and experience, really, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, and I think that's just him as a player as well.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he didn't give away penalties and blah, 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 but he was just a calmer head sometimes. Compare him to another former player of ours like Ross Moriarty.
Oh, I love Ross. I still love Ross. I wish he was back with us. I love him.
Well, I grasped recently one of my 5 favourite Welsh rugby moments, when one of them I said was when he had the Argentinian guy in a headlock.
Sanchez, when he choked Sanchez. Yeah.
Because, I grew up watching his dad and his uncle. And it was a moment of going, oh yeah, that's Moriarty blood, that.
Yeah, you don't mess with the Moriartys, do you? Let's be honest. But yeah, brilliant. Okay, so that was the big news then. Dan Lydiard is going to be player coach of the Dragons. What else news-wise? The new home kit was released last week. Once again, it's amber and black to represent the city and the history, and it features new front of shirt sponsor Dragon Signs. The jersey is complemented for the first time by amber shorts and amber socks with black hoops. What do we think of it? Do we like the new kit? Do we prefer it to last season's? What do we reckon?
I like the shirt. I think the shirt's brilliant. Yeah, as I've said on this pod a number of times, I love a hoop. So, amber and black hoops, great. Not a fan of those amber shorts.
No?
No. I was when I was watching the game, I really don't like those amber. Love the socks, didn't like the shorts, but
That's interesting. Okay, what do you reckon then, Dave? Do you like it? Are you going to buy it? Are you going to buy the new shirt?
That's it.
Oh, you're wearing it now? I thought you were wearing the old one. I couldn't see.
No,
there we are. See,
but this is the thing, and this is why I said, and my wife said initially, was that it was quite. She thought it was quite similar to the old one until she seen the shade of color it was. It was slightly more amber than yellow was last year.
Yeah.
It took me a while to work out at the start of the game that the back of the shirt was black. I didn't realize.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Last year's one, I think the back of it was the same as the front pretty much, but it took me a while to realize. And then I think with the new, might be a new sponsor, one of the sponsors from the new brewery on the back as well. So it did.
Kronenberg. You got Kronenberg on the back.
I was going to say that in case you're not allowed to name brands or whatever. So being careful.
Well, what we will say, other brands of beer are available, but that is the beer that's named on the back of.
Says the man who mentions Tiny Rebel on most pods. You never say that when you mention Tiny Rebel, Jamie. No other brands are available.
I was hoping they sponsor us, but no, they don't sponsor us.
I'll be there for Christmas. That's just up the road from me, though. It's the brewery.
Yeah, it's a shame they closed the pub. They closed the pub in town, and that's gutting, because otherwise I'd have to drive up there. But
it took me a while to work out to the last season that they had money off on a drink on a match day. I didn't realise that till the last season before they
did. Yeah, and for county.
Yeah.
The one thing I would say with the shorts is so like the club I play for, we've had back of short sponsors, and I've always thought the people who pay for that are absolute lunatics, because why would you do that? But then when I saw where it was placed on the shorts yesterday, the Dragon shorts, there was one point when Luke Endel was just absolutely off his feet at a rack, and I really saw the sponsor really clearly emblazoned on his arse. So I thought, at least that's well positioned.
Yes. There is a retro cotton jersey, which I'm wearing, if you're watching on YouTube. Thank you, Dad, for purchasing for me for my birthday, upcoming birthday. I am convinced this is the best piece of rugby merchandise on the planet right now, in my very biased opinion. I absolutely love it. And it has gone down a storm, not just with Dragon Sports, but supporters of other regions. The amount of messages I've had from Cardiff and Scarlets saying, oh, it's a really nice jersey. I know it's Dragons, but it's really nice. It's a traditional cotton old school jersey, long sleeve, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And credit to VX3 for listening, because I know this is something the supporters have spoken about before, and I've messaged them saying, can we please have a traditional cotton jersey? Because I'm not fussed on like the new polyester shirts nowadays. For a guy of my figure, it's not really a good look. I think if you're a certain figure, it's not a particularly good look, but I love these. I think they're great, and it will last years if you look after them. You're going to get one of these, Dave?
My wife ended up getting one because she was a bit thing because they didn't have women's versions of it, but she managed to get like an extra small men's fitter as well. She's only like 4 foot down, but it fit her nicely. She bought one. I thought, oh, I like that. It is a very nice shirt, fair play, and the material washes well. We washed it after the game, and it does really wash well. So yeah, that might be on my Christmas list.
I'm torn between that or the one you're wearing, If, and I don't know which one I want, but I want one.
I can see you in this. I can see you in this retro cotton. That just seems more you, Gav. I don't know why, the old-fashioned retro. I can just see you.
As I've said before in Blood and Mud and various other places I've been, I like hoops and I like collars.
Yeah. It's great. It's a really good piece of merchandise. Right then, let's talk about what happened Saturday. Do any of us know what the hell happened? Because I'm still recovering. Dragons 23, Ospreys 21. So Luke Yendel was the unlikely hero as the Dragons stunned the Ospreys at the death. Now the Ospreys led 16-13 at half-time, and it looked like Dragons were going to get nothing out of the game. when they were 21-13 down, and we was reduced to 14 men in the final quarter. But credit to the Dragons, they never gave up and they stayed in the fight and they won for the first time on opening weekend since when, Gav?
2013 against
Yeah, because
Ulster.
I told you before we recorded. That's why I wasn't going to mention that, but I thought I will. Yes, you are quite right. Well remembered. Yes, 2013 against Ulster. So it's a decade ago that it's one of those surprising stats, I think, isn't it? But yeah, fair play to him. Right, Gav, let's get into it. That result, that game. What did you make of it? Did you see that result coming at the end?
No, and like I said, I knew what the result was. Watched the game again this morning to write notes for this, and I still didn't think we would win it. Because, I think, and this isn't, well, no, it is a criticism of Ospreys. If I was an Ospreys fan, I would be questioning how the hell we didn't win that. I'm being really quite annoyed because they had enough opportunities. But in an absolute turnaround of what I usually say, their game management in comparison to ours was very poor. In
the last quarter, definitely.
Yeah, because they were kickable penalties. They're kicking towards the corner.
Yeah,
and I know their maul is a real weapon, and I kind of we all know that, but we managed to nullify it. And the last couple of throws, Dewey Lake's head was gone. He was not hitting anything. And the more they tried pushing, and the more they kind of couldn't execute their game plan. And then we did something which I couldn't believe, really. The last 2 minutes, we managed it perfectly.
We did.
There was nothing, because if you think last year against Edinburgh, we just pushed it. We do 3 or 4 phases, and then we would do something stupid, and we didn't. It was just, let's keep giving it to blokes, let's keep pushing it up, and we got the reward from that, because I think there were parts of the game before the last couple of minutes where we played well, and there were parts of the game where we were dreadful.
Yeah,
and kind of some of the performances were up and down, and it was interesting. I'm going to ask you a question now, Jamie. I think we both think the attack still looks a bit one-dimensional. Could you see what the defence was trying to do?
I thought our defence was actually pretty good, but I'm not sure we're quite seeing the tier stamp on the defence just yet. But I thought there were big improvements in our defence. Now, we were cut open a couple of times, mind. Jack Walsh, to his credit, who ended up having play of the match, he did cut us open. He caused us a lot of problems. But I thought, on the whole, our defence was really good. Very impressive to hold up. I think it was Kieran Williams, wasn't it, over the line, Joe Westwood.
Yes.
Was it Joe Westwood? Someone else?
Westwood.
Yeah, that was very impressive defence.
Turned him really well.
There's a big improvement, isn't there? Like I said, I don't think it's quite got the tier stamp on it yet, but when you compare to last season, and there were shades of it in pre-season as well, mate, I definitely think we are more solid in defence, I would say.
Their 2 tries comes out of players not doing what everyone else did. So Lloyd Evans tries pushing into Kieran Williams's channel, which opened up the space for Luke Morgan to come into for the first try. And then for the Walsh, I can't remember who it is, but somebody has moved channels and there's loud space for Walsh to run into. But other than that, we look really, really solid, I thought. And there's a couple of scramble bits the Joe Westwood tackled. That was great technique, though. Williams is there. He just rolled him up onto his belly.
That was a certain try. I thought it was excellent. In terms of missed tackles, so we missed 12. Ospreys missed 18 missed tackles. So that tells a story, doesn't it? You can definitely see shades of improvement in our defence, I think. Nath, what about you? Now, of course, you was there. Can you remember what happened? Because I know you've drunk a fair bit since then. Do you remember what happened? And can you believe what happened?
it's a process of reflection, I think, so far. I mean,
Yeah.
after the game, I think the first time I ever took it, because I've seen there was a slightly, they've done on the main building in the Bisley, they've upgraded the scoreboard on the top from what it remember taking a photo of that I want to reflect the next day if my hangover was so bad that it really did happen. We won. I said darts practice today for White Dead. I don't know if I can say that, but for White Deads, up the edge by the way as a plug. But and then when we were there, it was just even I said that then my headphones fell out. I couldn't believe it. But I was so chuffed as well to see Leon get a full game, no injuries, nothing coming off.
Yeah, he did well. Isn't it nice to see Leon back though? It's nice to see him back, isn't it?
I tell you what, you could see he had a smile on his face all over the pitch. It just everything sang. It just there's points where as you say 21-13, you could say I was in a state of probably denial that I thought there was still a chance we were going to win, but it just felt after the bad games I'd been to, this didn't have that same feeling.
No.
After the games where I knew, like we was saying earlier about the Glasgow game, we just sort of had that inkling before the game started what kind of a day it was going to be. This day just felt right, and when Yendel went over, I mean, I said, I think I put on X that it was emotional beginning to end. I was hoping the camera didn't pan up because I was holding back some form of a TV sort of rage outburst at that point to say finally, opening day win. But yeah, I kept my cool and then bought a box and drunk some more.
Fair enough.
So when Yendel went over, I was watching the game on my phone at a football match as standard, and it was in a very dull bit where Hastings was sticking the ball into a corner, and when Yendel scored, I stood up in the middle of the stand and Lewis going, yes! And just half the stand just turned and looked at me, what the hell is going on?
It was funny with my dad, right? So Yendel scored and we were jumping up and down going wild. My dad not so much. And he says to me, oh, he's got to kick it first, mind. I said, Dad, he's gone under the post. He's not going to miss. It's literally right in front of the post. But that's the classic Dragons pessimism, isn't it? He even thought like, oh, we can miss this. Like, Dad, it's game over. He is not going to miss this kick. And be fair, he didn't. Do you know what impressed me about that, though? Like you were talking about there, Gav, those final 5 minutes and the phases that we went through. It was very un-Dragons-like. Do you know what it reminded me of? Munster. That's the kind of thing that Munster were really good at when they're going through the phases, getting territory, moving up the field, our pack, giving us go forward. We don't normally see Dragons win games like that.
My notes have two teams named down. It says late 90s England, Ireland. It wasn't flashy, it was efficient.
Yeah.
But and what I really, really liked was every ruck, there was one where the Ospreys prop was going to come across and the ref's gone, no. Other than that, every ruck, one man has secured the ball, one man has picked it up, another man's behind him. It's just really well drilled, really well structured rugby.
I had a really good conversation with Robbie from Squid Rugby. So I met him after the game, took him to the manager, had a couple of drinks with him. And yeah, he was in a state of shock, as was I, to be fair. But I just think it's a terrific win for the Dragons. Let's not forget there were 13 players missing going into this game. And it happens every time. They come to Newport, don't they, the Ospreys, and we look at their team and we're like, bloody hell, that is a strong team. They had an international back row. Now, I know Morgan Morris is not a capped international, but that's an international standard back row. Our back row was basically 3 6s.
Yeah.
We had Woodman, Keddy, and Shane Lewis, who's brilliant players, but they're 3 6s. There wasn't a lot of balance in our back row. But to be fair, I thought they did a bloody good job.
Did you see what they did at scrum time? That was, I thought, was really interesting. I thought it was fascinating. So depending on where they were on the field, they changed the personnel. So in the centre of the field, on a defensive scrum, Harry Keddy was playing 8.
Yes, I noticed Keddy was at the base of the scrum a bit. Yeah, I noticed that.
But then, when we had attacking scrums in their half, Shane Lewis-Hughes went to the base of the scrum, and Harry Keddy played open side.
Yeah, you're spot on. I noticed that, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I just thought it was really interesting because you can see the thinking there. Like defensively, you want Shane Lewis-Hughes out in that first channel,
Yeah.
but attacking, you want him rumbling the ball, and you
Yeah.
want Keddy there in the support role. I just thought really kind of good use of the resources.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I did notice that, and I'm glad you pointed out to me because I remembered it now watching the game last night. Two things can be true here, by the way. It's fair to say Ospreys threw it away in those last 10 minutes, but it's also true to say the Dragons were bloody brilliant in those last 5 minutes. The grit, desire, determination, and we just don't see enough of that. And that's all the supporters want to see every single week. We want to be competitive, we want to stay in the fight. How many times have we seen it when Dragons have gone down a couple of scores in the last 10 minutes, they lose their heads? We've seen it all. Edge drop. That's right. We've seen it all too many times, haven't we, guys? So how refreshing was it not to see that?
And there's something you said to me when we were back and forth on the text this morning, Jamie, which you're absolutely spot on with. Our bench made a difference. Now, if you think of last season, what it was like, players would come off the bench and they'd be like, "Oh, Jesus, here we go." No, not because they're not great, but they aren't going to make an impact in the game. But the bench made a difference, whereas, and you were absolutely right, this the Ospreys bench didn't make a difference, did they?
No, that was one of the things for me why Ospreys faltered, particularly in those last 10 minutes. Their bench didn't really make an impact, whereas ours did. And I have to say a shout out to Harry Wilson. I thought he was terrific off the bench. Now, you go back and watch the last 5 minutes where we're going through those phases, right? He is involved in everything. The carries he's making to get over the gain line, making the hard yards. He's a big guy. And this is what we've lacked. We've lacked those powerful big men to give us territory and push us up the field. And I thought he was fantastic cameo.
He
made good.
He made 5 carries in the last 8 minutes.
Yeah, he was really important.
Which is mad. Like that is a work rate. And that's why I thought he was really... and his lines were interesting because a couple of times he ran what I would call a typical 12 line, quite flat on the ball, but a couple he just angled them really kind of sharply and opened up space outside him. He's an interesting looking player already.
Yeah, definitely. And we have to remember as well, like I mentioned, the injuries. No Hardhip, no Steve Cummins, no Elliot Dean, no Kai Evans, no Solomon Funaki, no Ollie Griffiths, no Tane Basham, no Aaron Wainwright. These are just some of the guys. Imagine how good we'd be when they come back, how much better we could be when they come back. It's encouraging, guys, isn't it? It's positive. It is generally. I do feel like we've got out of jail on the one hand, but on the other hand, because of the nature and how we won, we did it the hard way, put in the hard yards, the grit, the fight, and the desire. I'm feeling really optimistic about the rest of the season. And let's forget about, we'll talk about Leinster next week, but it gives us something to build on when we play at home now this win, doesn't it? Because we've got 3 really key home games against Sharks, Lions, and Benetton, and that win gives us something to build on, because when we're in similar situations again, we can say, boys, remember what we did against the Ospreys. What do you think?
I don't think Benetton looked that good in the Scarlets game either, so who knows?
Yeah. And I think as well, like they did, the Scarlets didn't expect that fight. You could see they'd gone under Dewey Lake's collar, gone under Tipperick's collar. They did not expect that stubbornness.
Ospreys,
They thought we were going to have our belly tickled, we were going to roll over, but they literally grounded out. That, as you said earlier, the mentality is shifted in that game. They believed it, and I think whichever, the use of the bench and whichever sort of the older heads had said, "Come on now, it's this, we got this." It just worked.
I don't know if you saw in the game, Nathan. I think it happened over where you're sitting, where there was a point where Dewey Lakes turned to our fans and made the chirpy noise, and then at the chirpy kind of hand signal, and then at the end of it, the amount of grief he was getting, it was lovely to watch.
Well, I think they were saying something like Dewey Lake, Dewey Lake, Dewey Lake, and like making these sort of mimic hands to say, chirping back to him, like when they were doing their captain's tunnel. Like I think it's players tunnel. Sorry, I think it was a weird one for the band to be on our side for once.
Yeah, absolutely. When will they learn though, Ospreys? Mike Phillips, Dan Bigger, and countless other Ospreys, they just lose their heads down here. They let the fans get under their skin, and it happened with Lake as well. And, you just add him to the list of the Ospreys completely rattled. There's something about Rodney Parade that the Ospreys just don't like, isn't there?
But kind of, I spoke to Ospreys fans this week, and we were talking about it. And they said, "Why do you think that is?" And I think the difference is Rodney Parade is still an old-fashioned rugby ground. Yeah, it's been updated, but
Yeah.
I used to go to Rodney Parade in the 90s, and yes, it's a lot nicer than it was in the 90s, but it's still essentially the same ground. And there's not many grounds like it now. Gloucester, maybe. But, like Ospreys, they used to play in the big corporate fun zone, aren't they? They're not used to having the fans literally 6 foot away from you going, why don't you throw her in straight butt?
There's no atmosphere there at the Swansea.com. I think St. Helens is going to be a great move for him. Really, it's much needed. Same with Parker Scarlets. There's no atmosphere there. Whereas Rodney Parade, even when we have 4,000 there, it just feels like a much better atmosphere. It feels louder than what the attendance is. I haven't heard a roar that loud when Ender went over. I would say last time was when we beat Munster a couple of years ago on a Sunday afternoon. That was the last time I really felt Rodney Parade rocking. I know that sounds a bit cringe to say that, but you know what I mean. Like, do you feel the whole place?
But you could feel it on TV, like.
Yeah.
It was clear on TV, and the commentators were saying, this is a hostile atmosphere every time Ospreys did something.
Yeah, absolutely. But can you imagine how hostile it could be if we had 7,000-8,000 there every week? I know that's a pipe dream at the moment, but just imagine how really brilliant it could be, how loud and.
Yeah, and the thing is, it used, and I'm talking longer ago now. I'm talking pre-Dragons. Going to watch, Ebervale down at Newport was horrible because it was and the Newport crowd were fairly abrasive.
Yes.
And that makes a difference. It was the same in Pontypool Park as well, just abrasive crowds getting at you. And you could see, Esther, you're absolutely right. Dewey Lake could not cope with it because he was just getting grief. Every time we went to throw the ball in, he was getting grief.
And he's Wales captain, and you'd think, well, he needs a better temperament than that if you're captain your country. Sorry, but you'd think he would, wouldn't you?
On Tipperich as well, who's been there, done it. He was absolutely losing it.
Yeah, I love Lake though.
Post at the end.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, but I love Lake. I still think he's great. But
I'm
very
player.
surprised he allowed himself, being captain of Wales, to be dragged into to being rattled. But it just shows like the crowd and the Ospreys. There's a history there of just getting under their skin, isn't it? Yeah. And it works. So we have to continue to do it because it works. So let's carry on doing it.
But I do want to bring up a negative, so you can shoot me down now for being a negative, Nelly.
No.
I think, I think we really competed at the breakdown, both halves. But there were a couple of times when we were still a bit disorganised. I think it was your side of the field, Jamie, when we've kind of just left the ball at the back. No one's protecting it. And Tipperich literally just stepped over and picked it up.
Yeah, I agree. One of the negatives, again, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer like you because I just want to enjoy a win. I'm still not happy with our attack. And I've been saying on the pod all last season, I don't want to keep repeating it this season. I still think our attack is too unstructured. It's too chaotic. We're not very good at keeping hold of the ball. And I really don't like these constant looped passes over the top because they could be so easily picked out, and scored for interception try. There was a couple of moments out of the heart of my mouth when the ball was being looped up. I'm thinking someone's just going to intercept here. Thankfully, it didn't happen. But I just want to see a bit more structure, a bit more patience in attack. I'm still not happy with it. We did struggle up front, as we knew we would. That was understandable. Ospreys got an outstanding pack. Little too high penalty count. 14 penalties I think we conceded. I read when we was put under pressure, we was giving away a lot of penalties. Now we got to be better under pressure. We got to keep our composure and our discipline. That's something that does happen with the Dragons. Once we're under a lot of pressure, we do give away a lot of penalties. That's something that needs to be nipped in the bud. But those were the negatives for me. But other than that, let's just enjoy the win.
3 scrum penalties in amongst that. And then all the others were just for infringements at the offside line.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Nath, who stood out for you then? Because I thought Harry Keddy for the Dragons was absolutely outstanding. Now, look, I know Jack Walsh got played of the match. I'm not going to begrudge him that. He was very good. He caused Dragons a lot of problems. I think Philippa Tuttiett would have given it to Angus O'Brien because she did mention him a lot in commentary on the Premier Sports. Keddy was my man of the match. I thought he was he was everywhere. And isn't it weird now seeing him wear this white scrum cap, because it makes you think he's Ollie Griffiths. It's confusing, isn't it? But it was an Ollie Griffiths type performance. Ball carrying excellent, really good at the breakdown. I thought he was outstanding. What about you? Who stood out for you for the Dragons?
Gerdie, simple. I mean,
Keddy,
he was. I mean, he was just everywhere. He was. And I tell you what I did after the game. As we were walking out, we stuck behind in the marquee for about an hour waiting for a taxi, and then we bumped in. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. It's the strength condition we got him from Wales.
Ryan Chambers.
Yeah.
Seen him on the way out, and all I could say was, what a difference lasting to 80 minutes in terms of the energy of the team. We were still going at the end. The difference in no, it's not the effort levels I want to say, but the difference in the
energy levels.
Yeah. The stamina that's being, that Merthyr Mawr they were running, I think prepared them for that level of grit at that end to take the patience, go through those phases. Keddy, another one I want to stand for, again, like we were saying before the show, is just Leon. I think to see him back was amazing. To see him on the pitch, not come off injured, but just, I was assuming it was a tactical switch at 60 odd minutes. It was just lovely. But yeah, Keddy for me, all day long.
Yeah, I think for me, Keddy, Angus O'Brien, and Nyron Owen as well. Shout out this is going to be a big season for Nyron Owen, and I do feel like he's become the forgotten man a little bit, because Wales are seeking this creative ball carrying football in 12. And they're looking constantly over at England, Joe Hawkins, who hasn't set the will to light at Exeter, let's be honest. I'm thinking, well, if we want a football in 12, creativity, someone who can carry ball, and is a bloody good tackler, we go in Wales. His name is Nyron Owen. Now, I don't know whether it's size. I mean, he's not a small guy by any means, but he's been called into a couple of training camps, and I think it's high time Gatland should take a proper look at him, because I think he's a very, very talented centre. What about you then, Gav? Who stood out for you in the Dragons jersey on Saturday?
Keddy as well, with kind of because he was everywhere and he just worked his socks off. I thought Angus O'Brien played well as well. Really secure. I think two players as well that it was inconsistent, but there were moments that are really kind of pleased with. Dane Blacker, I thought, brought the sense.
Yes, he was good, wasn't he?
Brought an intensity that we haven't seen, and he was sniping lots, and it was a proper scrum half performance. He was testing their back row continually, and he made them a bit jittery. And then when Al had come on for Dane as well, did exactly the same thing, because it was his breakthrough.
Rodri's break, yeah.
Rodri rather than Aled. Sorry, I've gone mad. Naming the wrong players. Rodri has broken through. It was Rodri's breakthrough that has created the kind of platform to score that try. And it was nice because last year, I think whoever was at scrum half, it was quite one-dimensional. I still think, like you say, the attack is a bit I know what's happening. And if I know what's happening, I'm fairly sure international centres know what's happening. But I thought both scrum halves did well. What do both of you think about Lloyd Evans at 10?
I thought it was a 6 out of 10 performance. I had a couple of messages from people saying, I thought he was poor. He made some mistakes, it's fair to say. I felt at times he was trying a little bit too hard. I don't know if you thought the same as me, but I think he's going to be a good player for us going forward. It's very early days. It's only round 1. I think we got to give him a chance. I like him a lot. I liked him at Gloucester. But for me, it was a 6 out of 10 performance. What about you, Nate? What did you make of Lloyd Evans at 10?
I think in open play, there was I want to say an uber effort for the first game, but I think it could have been dialed back a bit. But I think with the kicking reassured us. I mean, I'm not sure what the accuracy was, but I think it was like 5 and 6, was it?
Yeah, he missed one.
He got from kicking.
He missed one at an angle.
But I mean, sometimes last year, and again, one thing I'm noticing the difference of, we're learning lessons from that Edinburgh game this year is last year. Sorry, is with opening games. I mean, is we're taking the points.
Yes.
We're keeping that scoreboard ticking over, and we lost games by like 2 or 3 points last year. I think that made a difference, and having somebody who don't get, like we as obviously been said many times, putting so much pressure on Will Reed so early. I think it's nice to let him mature as a player and not put so much on him where injuries might come about. I mean, having Lloyd to be able to take that pressure off, and with the reassuring us that his kicking accuracy is there, I think it's just, again, going back to what you were saying earlier about the attack still feels a bit disorganized.
Yeah.
That I don't think is part of when we were saying about that Gwent identity. Maybe the defense is coming in with not yet the stamp there yet, but that attack, I think at times we were out of ideas, if that makes sense.
And we tried doing a couple of different things. So there's one point where we played a pullback to Leon, but he dropped it. And there was a couple of pullback passes where we tried playing those two lines of attack, but it just didn't work. And then we just resorted, as Jamie said, to what I call the Finn Russell elbow pass, where it's like, up.
It's that looped pass over the top, and it makes me, if it comes off mine, it's very effective, but we do it too many times, and it makes me nervous. I don't like it.
Because you can read it.
Yes.
Because Lloyd was doing them in the same way that Finn Russell does, where the elbows come up to give him a bit more kind of. But the thing is, if you're a 12 and you see that, you know exactly what to do. You're not picking your man up. You're coming out one extra channel, and you and the 13 are nailing, the miss one target.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's quite easy to defend because he's got a massive tell.
Yeah, I'm not happy with the attack. As regular listeners will know, I just think it's lacking something. It needs to click, and I'm still not convinced at the moment. For all the talk about our front five, and I understand people's concerns with the front row and the front five, but I'm still more worried about our attack than our front five.
But Screech and Ben go around the field. Yeah, they're not great scrummaging. Second row's fine. We'll survive with that. I thought they both go round the field or to hit rack slots. Yeah. Kind of both of them look to carry the ball. They're not big ball carriers, but they both had to go at it.
And Screech's offload to Keddy for the first try was very well done. That was very nice hands from a lock. I'll give him credit where it's due there. I thought Screech and Carter were very good yesterday. So look, first game of the season, we've won. Now, we haven't done that since 2013 against the Ospreys, against all the odds. No one fancied us, did they? I mean, me and Gav said we'd win, but I think we were being a little bit optimistic. And then on Friday, I sent you the team sheets, didn't I? We were both like, ooh, yeah, this could be a tough afternoon, but we've done it. And let's hope we can build on that now. It's only round one. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but it's nice to win, isn't it? It's nice to win. We all happy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? We're all happy about that, aren't we?
What did we say we wanted from them? We said we wanted a bit more grit, a bit more determination, sticking in games, and winning at home. Well, we've done all four of that, so...
Yeah. It's a kick of the teeth for the Ospreys, but I'm sure they'll bounce back. They will bounce back. I mean, Toby Booth did look quite glum after finding us to this interview. So I can understand why, but, let's have a bit of credit for the Dragons for where they stayed in the fight and took it to them.
I'm going to say this now.
Controversial moment coming up, I feel now. Come on.
No controversial. Booth won't be there at Christmas.
Oh, and the food people are saying that.
Yeah. He'll be gone by Christmas.
Some Ospreys fans think that as well. Speaking to him in the pub, they all agree that something's not quite right there and he'll be gone before. You'll probably find another job, they're saying.
Well, why would you stay? There's no commitment there either side. I wouldn't hang about.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Boofers. It just feels like a bit of a lame duck situation now, doesn't it? You got a lame duck coach there.
Yeah. And because they know who's taking over.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing now. Does he take a back? Does he take a back seat now and let Mark Jones do more, or is he still very much involved? It's interesting to know how it's working now, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Is he letting Mark Jones take more control, or is he still very much the main man there? I don't know. I mean, that's for Ospreys to discuss. They can discuss that on their Ospreys Erie pod. But for us, it's a victory pod, and that's what matters. Good
I think
stuff.
for me, the way they go now, that can only breed. I mean, obviously, we got Leinster next, then we got the next three afterwards. But the more games we have like that, where people in the stands are going to feel confident, we're going to stick into it. Like you said, it's just what we've always asked for. If
Yeah.
the losses come, it's just how we lose it matters. It's the
Yes.
manner of it, and
I've said that.
that's what's
Yeah.
important. If we're
Spot
gonna
on.
lose, so be it. But let's go for it. Let's not hold anything back and leave it back. Let's not drop our heads. Let's just put our heads up and
Yeah.
say, right, what if we get our bonus point? What if we get another try? Then there's another try, and all of a sudden we can come away with 2 points.
Gav, how many times we said on the pod? We even said it to Di when he was on the pod. We just want to be competitive, Di. We said it to Reece Blumberg. We've said it to all the people at the Dragons. We just want a competitive team. We can accept losing, but let's be competitive. Isn't it, Gav?
We aren't stupid. We've all been around the club long enough to know where we are right now.
Yeah.
But give me 18 performances like that, even if we only win 4 games. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, and you don't want the moon
100%.
on the stick, Gav.
I don't want the moon. I don't want the moon.
Which still
on the
tickles
stick.
me. That quote still tickles me when you said that.
Well, I stole it from Fist of Fun, which was a sketch show that Richard Herring and Stuart Lee did in the early 90s. But then when I tagged Richard Herring on Twitter, he said, "Well, no, it's older than that. I don't know where we got it from." So,
I think he said it predates us, doesn't
it?
Was that what he said?
Yeah, he said it predates us. So but I just because I don't. Wanting a rugby team to be competitive is not a big ask.
No, but it has been for us over the years. But I think, like you said, going forward, if we are going to lose now, let's just see a bit of fight and determination. I think we'll all be happy then. Yeah, good stuff. Right, okay, so before we move on to Gav's Gwent Rugby Roundup, a quick word from our sponsors. So if you're looking for a place to catch the game and you enjoy a cold pint and some dirty fries, then look no further than the Riverside Sports Bar in Clarence Place, Newport. This welcoming venue is the perfect spot to cheer on your team with friends and family. With multiple HD screens showing all the latest sports action, you'll never miss a match on TNT, Sky and Premier Sports. There's a wide range of delicious food and drinks to keep you going throughout the game, from juicy burgers, I do recommend the Dragon Burger, by the way, and crispy wings to refreshing beers and spirits. There's something for everyone. So get down to Riverside Sports Bar and experience the ultimate sports bar atmosphere. They're located next to the river on Clarence Place, or you can find them at www.riversidesportsbarnewport.com, and we'll see you there. Okay, Gav, time for your Gwent Rugby Roundup. What's the latest?
Right, so if we go into Super Rugby Cymru, first game was on Thursday afternoon, or Thursday evening even, and not a good day for Ebervale, who went down to Cardiff and lost 29-12.
No, I watched that.
But on the subject of Cardiff fans, stop calling them the Rags. They aren't your reserve team. You've got 6 or 7 other teams in your region.
That'll be controversial, but okay.
But they aren't. They aren't your reserve team. They're Cardiff RFC. They're a separate entity. And the other games, Newport did better on a trip down to Swansea. They won 35-27 at St Helens. And Pontypool, who bounced back from quite the close defeat to Llantrisson, beat Bridgend 26-29. So 2 trips to Australia for our clubs and 2 wins. So a good win, a good weekend for us.
Yep.
So if we then go into the Championship or the Premiership, sorry. Sorry. Let me just get the right scores up. Otherwise, I'll be reading.
Now you said you were so organised and you had all this down on digital. You're ready to go.
I've written it electronically, and I tell you what, that was an error. I should never do anything electronically. I should just do it.
Just be old school and write it down, Gav.
Yeah.
It'd be easier.
So, I will do again next time. So, Bryn Mawr had a poor start to the season. Bounced back. They beat St. Peter 17-15. Your boys, NSD.
Yeah.
They won well on the road at Cambrian Welfare. 28-26 winners at Cambrian.
Good result.
Oh, a very good result. Penaltha won at home 22-11 versus Mountain Ash. And Talawine went away to Treorchy and won 23-17. So good results there.
Yep.
Into Div 1, where we lots of Gwent sides for us to talk about. Abergavenny beat Pontypool United 41-19. Not a good start for Pontypool United. They've lost every game so far. Aberteifi Blaen y Gwent beat Bedlinog 27-19. Newport High School Old Boys lost 27-19 at home to Nelson. And Blaenavon let the side down for Gwent teams. They went away to St Gennes and lost 23-15. I never work out how St Gennes is in the East League because they're like bang in the centre, aren't they? It's like other side of Philly. Then if we go down to the Div 2, Blackwood beat Blaenau 19-6. Another Newport-ish derby, Cwmbran beat Pill Harriers 39-20.
Good win.
A very good win. Good win for Cloister Kiliog as well, away to Carndiffite, winning 33-17. Risca lost 14 points to 20 at home to Caldicot. And Ask beat Abercarn 36-31.
Yep. Anything else? Or
there's lots more.
You paused then, you stopped. I was like, I don't know if you finished or not.
I'm struggling with technology, Jamie. So Chepstow beat Machen 26-21. Nandeglo beat Abertwsog 33-0. Two places where I've been the most drunk I've ever been in my life there. Newport Saracens beat New Panteg 27-15. Oakdale lost at home against Carleon 23-37. And an absolute cracker at Rumney, proper Rumney, not Cardiff Rumney, 35-38. They lost at home against Fleur-de-Lis. Then if we go into Division 5, Bedwellty beat Crumlin 29-26 at home. Betos beat Fordside 19 points to 3. Pontland Fife, who've just been recently promoted, difficult trip up to Mid Wales. They lost 77-17 against Gwynafyd. That's a long journey up to Mid Wales, and then to get absolutely panned like that.
Yeah.
Llanilloch beat Whitehead 24-14, and RTB Ebervale beat Crickhowell 30 points to 18. Then Abersychan beat Hartridge 12 points to 6. Westmont's dreadful start to the season continues. They went away to Havant and lost 64-16. That's 150 points they've conceded in 2 games now, Westmont.
Oh, dear. Yeah. Tough.
Hollybush beat Beaufort 20 points to 17.
Mm-hmm.
Mago lost 61-3 at home to Derry. And a hell of a game at one of my dad's former clubs. Tredegar Ironsides beat Blackwood Stars 57-24. So into Division 6, where New Tredegar, as we know, won very convincingly last week against Girlin. Well, Girlin lost again, but only by 2 points, 22-24 to Old Talarians. And Cumcarn United lost 22-29 at home to Brynifel. And then our final game in 6B, or final games, St. Julian's High School Old Boys won very convincingly a 54-12 against Cardiff Internationals. Cardiff Internationals, who held the record for the most games without winning in the Welsh League.
Really?
Yeah, I think they went 3 years without winning a game.
Oh, gosh. Is that it now? Is that
is it, yes.
Excellent. We got it in the end.
Sorry.
No, it's no problem. Maybe next time, just write them down.
Yeah, I will do. I've tried the electronic thing. It didn't work. They always works when I write it down.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Gav. Right then. Let's look ahead to round 2. So we're all buzzing. We're on a high. We've won. And now we have to go to Leinster. This is where it starts to come down a little bit now, isn't it? So Leinster away, Friday night. This game is being played at the Aviva Stadium, not the RDS, because that's currently being redeveloped. The match will be live on Premier Sports and BBC Wales, so it's on free-to-air TV, kick-off at 7:35. So here's the thing about this game, right? I think it's good to be playing Leinster now in round 2. Why do I think that? Because first of all, it gets them out of the way early, so we can focus on the more important and winnable games. Secondly, we don't have to face Geordie Barrett. So I'd rather play Leinster now than further down the season when they're starting the clip and, the Leinster machine gets rolling into action. And for me, this game is essentially a free hit for the Dragons. There's no pressure on us. We're not expected to get anything out of it. They are far more important and more winnable games coming up. What do you think, Nate? Would you agree with that? How do you feel Dragons approach this
100%. 100%. I think at the end of the day, there's going to be no pressure. I think the manner and how we reflect that on the pitch will come back to what we said earlier about if we're going to go out there and think there's no pressure, it's how then we act in terms of if there is the Leinster machine clicks into gear and all of a sudden they start putting it all together. We need to be having our heads held up and trying to in my head, let's see if we can keep within them. Let's see if we can put four on them. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that get a
it's a
try
big
bonus
ask.
point, isn't it? We need
Yeah.
that would be pretty good to come back with Dublin with something. So if we lost, say if they put like 40 plus points on us, but we score 4 tries, we come back with a point, or even like 50 plus. Would we be okay with that? Because at least we've come back with something, or would we be better off in a close, tight game, but we don't actually come away with anything? But what would you choose?
Well, I take the points every time.
Yeah.
If you said to me, do you want to lose 11-0 or do you want to lose 53-29? Well, I'd lose 53-29 because that's a point.
Because you get the point. You come back with something for your efforts, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if you saw the Leinster team that played it was Edinburgh this weekend.
Yeah, I saw highlights, yeah.
There was a couple of their big names, but no lots of them.
No, but I mean, they were lucky to beat Edinburgh. Edinburgh really taking it to them. It was a good game.
They huffed and puffed against Edinburgh.
Yeah.
We aren't going to beat them. I'm
No.
not going to sit here and say we'll beat Leinster in Dublin. But there's one thing as well. Playing at the Aviva brings a benefit, right? Because they aren't going to fill the Aviva on a Friday night to play us.
No, I don't think so either.
People will have better things to do with their time than go to South Dublin and kind of watch us on a Friday night. So I don't think it's going to be an intimidating atmosphere like the RDS can be.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a really good point.
For me, there's no pressure on them, but what if we put there's no pressure on us, but what if we put pressure on them? What if we turn up for a game and they're not expecting it? There's nothing to lose and everything to gain. We could go up there and just I think I said you guys before when you said about coming on, I said there's opportunities when we've got 13 out for people to put their hands up and make a name for themselves. Put your hands up, let's see what happens. We've got nothing to lose. What if we come away with 1 point? It might make a difference between 14th and 15th position at the end of the season. Knowing how attritional this season was at the bottom of the table, we could get something from it. It could make a difference.
I take it. I would take a bonus point of any kind to come back to. Yeah, I would definitely.
Well, I think if we come away with a bonus point, we've done superbly.
Yeah.
If we beat them, which we won't, but if we beat them, I'm putting £200 on Dragons to win their URC.
Can you imagine if we beat Leinster? Like, rugby Twitter would explode. The rugby world would explode. Like, because that would be amazing. But it's not going to happen, obviously. Is it?
I got a lot of messages going, well, how did you beat Ospreys? Oh, it's only Ospreys. Calm down.
Well, if they know anything about rugby, they know we always beat them at Rodney Parade. So I'd question the knowledge of those mates, Gav.
I think the Ospreys media narrative paints them far more positively than they actually are, I think, though, anyway. It's not an anti-Ospreys thing.
Yeah, but they are going to be thereabouts for the playoffs. They are. They will be, in fairness to them.
I think they'll finish 10th. I'm standing by my predictions there.
I had them at 9th. I think they're just going to miss out.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah. Anyway, enough Ospreys, bloody chap. We're not talking Ospreys, though. We're talking Dragons. So, how are we going to approach this game? That's the question I'm asking, because I don't see Leon Brown playing in this game, because as we know, Dave Flanagan has said he's going to have a couple of weeks off here and there. I wouldn't risk Leon for this game. Who are you going to put in certain positions? Like, are we going to go full strength? I don't think we will. I think this is a game where you might want to rotate. So you could bring in guys like, Steph Hughes out of the cold. Hopefully, Tane Basham and Steve Cummins will be available. So we will rotate, but we don't want to rotate too much because we run the risk then of getting exposed, don't we? But I can't see us putting out a full strength squad for this one, can you? I can see changes being made. What do we think?
I think we're going to go youth. I think we'll probably load the youth out. I think
Is
we're
that the right
looking.
way to go, though? I don't think that's the
No,
right
No,
way
I
to go,
think
is it?
I think
no.
looking at I think we're going to be close to what we had for the Bristol game pre-season. I think there's going to be a mix of youth with a couple of, a couple of, as you would say, the first stringers in there. I think there will be a bit of a mix to utilise the pack.
I
Sorry, not the
think
pack, utilise the team.
I think if we do that, we shoot ourselves in the foot a bit because as much as
Mm.
the saying it's not going to be as intimidating as the RDS,
No.
if you're a 20-year-old lad, the Aviva's going to be intimidating on its own, no matter how many people are in there. So you need a couple of old heads who've been there, and so yes, another stadium.
Yeah. No, it's a fair point. Let's just hope that we're competitive. That's the thing I want to see. I
Yeah.
think, and this isn't a cop out, and there's no excuses, but we're coming up against Leinster in Dublin, and bigger and better teams than the Dragons are going to go to Dublin this season and get beat quite handily because I'm fancying Leinster to win the URC.
Yeah, and
Because
me.
this has been 3 years for them now without the trophy. Now, by Leinster's standards, that's becoming unacceptable. And another season without any sort of trophy, there's going to be changes at the top. They won't
I,
stand for that.
again, a ridiculous hot take. They're going to win the URC and they're going to win the Champions Cup.
Oh, you fancy him do the double, do you?
I think RG Snyman.
If he stays
Yeah.
fit for the season.
Well, Munster fans are convinced there'll be some kind of conspiracy and he will remain fit all
How
season.
funny would it be though if he just never got injured? Though he had an
Yeah.
injury-free season and he played. You as a Munster fan, you'd be spooey, wouldn't you? But
Yeah.
and of course Jody Barrett. I can't wait to
Yeah.
see him in action, but not against us, obviously. But it's
No.
it's great for the URC in there to have world-class players like that.
two of the
yeah.
top names in the world game. Well, it's a great thing.
Yeah, but for me, I just want to see us be competitive, stay in the fight like we did against Ospreys. And I think if we all see that, if we see us being competitive and we got 40 plus points on us, but we come away thinking, well, actually, Dragons did quite well and they put up a good fight, I think we'll be happy, won't we?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Is it worth doing score predictions for this one?
We might as well.
Okay, score prediction, Gav?
26-19. We'll get a losing bonus
Wow.
point.
That would be a very good result out there. Okay, fair enough.
I've gone mental.
So Leinster by what, 7 then, is it?
7, yeah.
Okay. Nath, are you positive like Gav? Could you see us getting that close?
I think this might be the Prony still in my veins, but I'm going for a 4-try bonus point, losing bonus point. Obviously, I'm looking at maybe kicking, say 20, maybe 28, 28-42. Why not?
Okay.
That's extreme. I might be different in the morning when the hangover subsides.
I'm going to go for Leinster by 18. But I hope that we get a try bonus point out. I think that's the most realistic thing that could happen here. I don't think we're going to get close enough to get a losing bonus point, but I do believe if we sort out the attack, and we know it needs to be sorted out, I do believe we have the capability to score 4 tries and get a try bonus. But it might involve Leinster switching off a bit. It could be a case of the game's won, they switch off a bit, and then we score a couple of tries, like, do you know what I mean? A few tries to get that bonus point. But yeah, all I said, look, I just want to see us be competitive. That's all I want from this game. It's very much going to be about performance. Go out there, give a good account of ourselves, come back to say, yeah, we battled hard. But then we got those 3 home games, and that's the most important thing now. This is why we just need to get this Leinster game out the way. We might have to go there and take our medicine, but when we come back, we got those 3 home games. And for me, they are winnable.
Yeah,
those
I
games.
agree.
It's very tough having Sharks, Lions, and Benetton, but I think 2 out of 3 is possible as well. As Meatloaf once said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I would take that.
But I don't think Sharks and Lions are going to come loaded.
They won't.
Because they played in the Curry Cup.
Yeah.
And you've got the final rounds of the
championship, yeah.
So I think they're going to send over fringe guys. And we've got to take that opportunity as it's presented to us.
Yeah, it's mad because, we got we got Leinster, but already I've got my eye on those 3 home games. That's what I'm looking forward to now. That's why I'm not really thinking about this Leinster game. It's just a game that we need to go there and just get it over with and really focus on our home games, because Dyer's made it that, hasn't he? He's focusing on the home game. So we'll see what happens, and let's hope Dragons put in a strong competitive performance. Right then, let's wrap it up. Nathan, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. And Gav, thank you as always. And thank you to our wonderful listeners. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast from so you don't miss out on any episodes. We'll be back next week, but until then, take care and goodbye.
That was The Dragon's Lair in association with the Riverside Sports Bar Newport, an American-style bar with a proper Welsh feel.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather, now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.